Hi, my name is James Donato, and this is my presentation on Colin Ross and the Gun Alley murder. Colin Ross was charged with the rape and murder of a 12-year-old schoolgirl, Alma Tershk, on the 31st of December 1921. His trial began on the 20th of February 1922, pleading not guilty throughout the entire case, protesting his innocence even until he was found guilty and hung on the 24th of April 1922, although many years later he was proven innocent and acquitted of all charges. The media developed an early opinion of Ross's guilt, disclosing many of the alleged facts of the case to the public before the trial had even begun. The media obtained information regarding Ross's alleged actions and whereabouts, disclosing this information without confirmation or corroboration. This information was at the time pure speculation. The alleged testimony of John Harding had been released to the public by the media, a testimony that explicitly stated that Ross had confessed to him that he had raped and murdered the 12-year-old schoolgirl. This occurred before the trial had even begun, further cementing society's opinion of Ross's guilt. Prior to the beginning of the trial, the media released information regarding the 31 witnesses that would be called on behalf of the prosecution, whilst no information had been raised regarding Ross's defence. 2 days before the trial, the media depicted Ross's case to be a very one-sided affair in favour of the prosecution, thus again portraying the notion in the public's mind that Ross is indeed guilty. On the first day of Ross's trial, hundreds of people had arrived early in the morning in order to gain entry to the courtroom. News articles released following the first day of the trial depicted Ross to be guilty, stating Ross's voice betrayed no tremor as he pled not guilty. The media displayed a very one-sided perception against Ross, divulging information given by the prosecution. However, they did not reveal any of the defendant's arguments. Multiple newspaper articles noted that Ross had confessed to John Harding that he had committed the rape and the murder. However, none of these articles had disclosed that Harding had a prior conviction of perjury and other crimes. Articles that were written following the first few days of Ross's trial followed a constant theme of relaying information and evidence against Ross, using the emotional appeal of a murdered child to depict Ross to be a relentless monster who showed no remorse. The author stated that Ross looked calm and self-possessed as he answered the judge's question and proclaimed he was not guilty. However, conflicting information regarding the evidence brought forth by government analyst Charles Price was revealed by the media. In some articles, the media portrayed Price's professional opinion to the public to be in favour of Ross, and in other articles, against him. The articles in favour of Ross revealed to the public that the hairs obtained from Ross's house did not match that of the murdered child. However, other articles reported that the hair did indeed match the murdered child's. As you can see, some authors have chosen to portray this information in a way that can further deteriorate the public's perception of Ross. If the media has misinterpreted this information, how can we be sure that they have not done the same for other broadcasted information regarding Ross's case? Ross's case was the first in Australia to obtain a conviction using the forensic analysis of hairs. Since the early stages following Ross's arrest, a vast majority of articles that were released by the media have openly portrayed Ross to be guilty of his alleged crimes. A general theme for articles post Ross's trial discerned that Ross did not deserve to be hung because the penalty of death is a punishment that would be over too quickly for such a crime. Here is an article describing Ross's lack of emotion and remorse, labelling him as a pagan. Despite Ross's declaration of innocence in front of God and men right up until he was hung, the media portrayed Ross as a guilty man, stating in the articles following his death that Ross walked unhesitatingly towards his demise. Alma Tershk is depicted by the media to be an ideal victim, attempting to gain sympathy for the murdered child. The media used the facts that the victim was a helpless 12-year-old schoolgirl against Ross, persuading the public to view Ross as a relentless killer. Further investigations following Ross's death revealed that the police did not bring forth a witness during the trial, allegedly because they were unable to find the man named Scotty. However, speculation was raised by the media that the police did not bring the witness forth because it would have provided some plausibility to Ross's innocence. Society is notoriously known to be quick to condemn or quick to jump on a bandwagon. In the early days of Ross's arrest, the media quickly depicted the defendant to be guilty. As society was just as quick to believe what the media was revealing, they condemn an innocent man to death. If the condemning evidence against Ross was critically reviewed, it reveals that Ross was indeed innocent. Perhaps the uproar of society proclaiming Ross's guilt persuaded the jury to condemn Ross to death, regardless of the facts of the case. The media has a substantial impact on shaping society's view on current events. Perhaps if society had sourced their information from a reliable and objective source, the outcome of Ross's case could potentially have been different. A case of similar stature in present times shows the potential to have the same outcome. The media remains to have a vast ability to persuade society. Much of the present media shows prejudice towards alleged criminals when the initial evidence is against the defendants. There are minimal sources of media that remain objective and without prejudices. Unfortunately, the term innocent until proven guilty is not a term that can always be proclaimed to be true in modern times. However, our current judicial system no longer gives capital punishment, so there is always opportunity or a possibility for a future appeal.